Welcome to our channel. On today's video, we're going to be comparing North Florida to South Florida to see which one is better. We're also going to explain to you which is which, since there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding and confusion about what exactly is South Florida. Is it just a geographical place, or do the tentacles of its culture spread far beyond that? Thank you so much for watching our videos. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel and hit the like button, since these edited videos take a lot of work to create. And don't you ever disrespect me by running into me in public and telling me that you moved to Florida thanks to my videos and you've never gave me a donation, or didn't email me at southernlifeyt@gmail.com to get a recommendation for a realtor so I can get my $500 kickback, which is legal according to Florida real estate law. Well, technically it's called a finder's fee, but we use a different vocabulary on the channel, since we're dealing with people from New York who came down here in their Subaru, and they kept it real by watching our videos, not the other clown realtors that are on the internet. So what the crap is South Florida? Well, speaking culturally, the areas in purple are South Florida. These places have a Caribbean tropical influence. The cuisine of these areas that you're going to find are going to have options like Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, Haitian, and Jamaican. And the amount of insurance fraud that these people commit means that your car insurance will be like 4 times more than anywhere else. These people have been flicked off in traffic today, and they have been through a few hurricanes in their lifetime. But that does not end the discussion of what exactly is South Florida, since we have people on the East Coast, yes, Southeast Florida, Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade County, and they think only they are South Florida. That, my friends, is incorrect. And then we have the oddball, Central Florida. Is that South Florida? Is that North Florida? For the sake of this video, we're going to leave Central Florida as an invisible area we're not going to talk about, because that would just open up a can of worms from its geographical location to its cultural aspects. In South Central Florida, places like Sebring, Highlands County, Polk County, Wauchula, Bowling Green are more like North Florida culturally than they are South Florida, even though they're geographically towards the south. Then you have the city of Tampa, which is definitely identical to Miami culturally, but if you go one county over into Pinellas, they are more culturally like North Florida. I'll let you guys in the comment section argue about what exactly is South Florida. We may have to redefine the definition of South Florida, because that's a culture that is spreading throughout the entire state. And with rich, young, stupid millennial yuppies moving to Miami, means more people are being forced into other places like Naples, Fort Myers, Lehigh, and Fort Pierce. Even Sebring is starting to become a lot like Miami these days. So if you're one of those people that thinks only Southeast Florida is South Florida, it may be time for you to reevaluate the definition of South Florida in these changing times. I'll tell you this, from my personal perspective, when I go to New York or I go up north to Michigan and I drive back into Florida, I feel like I've entered South Florida when I cross the Manatee River into Bradenton and I see a cloud of red roof tiles. That's when I personally feel like I'm back in South Florida. And a lot of our subscribers feel the same way. In fact, when me and Katie are in the car and we cross that bridge and we can see Bradenton, we give ourselves a high five and we tell each other, welcome to South Florida. And a few that are even more conservative give each other a high five when they enter Hialeah. And yet, for those who believe that Naples and Fort Myers are not part of South Florida, you need to look at real estate trends. You also need to look at vegetation. Well, crap, if you look at a fruit growing zone map, even that will show you that the climate itself defines that these areas are similar. Even real estate trends will correlate perfectly between Naples and Miami. There's too many things in common for you to say that this part of Florida isn't part of South Florida. And demographically, the entire region of South Florida is 1/3 Floridians, 1/3 people from other countries, and 1/3 people from other states. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about North Florida. With incredible places like Destin and Panama City Beach, These are the cleanest, most clear water that the state of Florida has to offer, and they're clear year-round for the most part. They also have freshwater springs, and they have a lot of relaxing, slow-paced type of vibes. Unlike South Florida, where traffic is chaotic, North Florida lives at a little bit of slower pace. But despite all that, our subscribers strongly believe that South Florida is a better place to live, with large cities like Miami and beaches that have tropical vibes, and much better natural areas like the Everglades and freshwater and saltwater marshes and estuaries. These are natural areas that really give South Florida an advantage or an edge in being better due to its tropical climate. And of course, the Latin food is the best in this part of the state. When most people in Minnesota are freezing to death in the middle of the winter and they're thinking about a tropical getaway, they're gonna think about Miami, Fort Myers, or Fort Lauderdale much more than they will Panama City Beach, where the water temperature will likely be in the 70s or 80. Nonetheless, North Florida does have incredible beaches. Let's dive into North Florida a little bit more elaborately and understand what makes these beaches the cleanest beaches in the entire state. Places like Destin and Miramar Beach are among the most beautiful beaches you're going to find, not only in Florida, but in the entire country. Not every coastline has beaches, and not every coastline has incredibly white sands. From Mexico Beach all the way to the Alabama border, the Florida Panhandle really does have some of the best beaches. And when you go a little bit further inland, you enter what is known as the Deep South. North Florida, in particular the Panhandle along the Alabama and Georgia border, are some of the most rural, isolated places you're going to find. And here people may not always have beaches, but they have clear water springs like the Rainbow River and many other natural springs that dot the entire northern section of Florida, giving you a break from the chaotic traffic or moderate traffic of cities like Tallahassee, Lakeland, Ocala, and Gainesville. So while traffic in the southern region of the state is a nightmare, for the most part, North Florida has great traffic with the exception of a few beach towns during peak times of the year. If North Florida and South Florida were two different states, Jacksonville would be the capital of the North and Miami would be the capital of the South. If it was just one state, Orlando would be the capital, and if Florida had absolutely no common sense, Tallahassee would be the capital. Since it's conveniently located next to Thomasville, Georgia, or I-10 in case you decide it's time to move to Texas. North Florida is a very relaxed place. Something about Florida as a whole means that there's relaxing vibes, and there's beautiful little towns like Inverness that may not have beaches, but they have nice lakes, incredible bass fishing, and are slowly starting to get a lot of investment, and they're becoming much more attractive places for people who want a vacation in Florida, but don't want to run into an orange salesman while waiting for the light to change at an intersection. And while North Florida isn't exactly Fort Lauderdale or Miami, many people, tourists in particular, are choosing quieter settings along the Florida coast in the northern region of the state to be able to enjoy a more calm, quiet vacation with less traffic, less congestion, less people, and probably in a few years, North Florida will likely resemble South Florida when it comes to traffic congestion and people. In fact, the real estate market started to pick up in areas like Brooksville, Orlando. This region has its own cuisine. Gator nuggets, fried catfish, some of the best barbecue in the entire country. The area of North Florida has its own cuisine, its own identity, lots of seafood influence, a little bit of Cajun but not too much, a little bit of Caribbean but not too much. This part of Florida really has its own cuisine, its own identity culturally. Places like Cedar Key, which are renowned for their seafood, fishing activities, and slower pace of life. These North Florida coastal communities may not have the most incredible beaches, but they're known for having their own style, their own flow, their own melody. You'll find local delicacies as well, like smoked mullet, which is a very popular thing along the Big Bend region of Florida. Usually the mullet is a fish that most people are going to pass up on. However, if you're able to cook it thoroughly, like deep frying it for a very long time to a deep yellow, or if you smoke it for a very long time, the heat is able to dissolve those sticky fibers and leaves behind one of the most tasty regional delicacies that you're going to find. The vibes of this part of Florida are reminiscent of what South Florida used to be, and in fact, many of the residents of North Florida were displaced out of South Florida when the Latino community began to grow. So you can say that almost with reason, these North Florida residents have a strong resentment against the people who displaced them from their home. Unfortunately for them, not only was it the Latinos, it was people from other states and investors from other countries who all want to be in South Florida for one simple reason: the warm climate. In recent years, natural disasters in Puerto Rico have brought the Puerto Rican population in the state to be at over 1 million people, making Puerto Ricans now the largest Latino group in Florida, taking away the spot from Cubans who historically held that title. And many of these Puerto Ricans are settling in the central part of the state and ever increasingly pushing towards the northern part of the state. Areas like Keystone Heights and other regions within Citrus County and Levy County, which have never had a Latino community, are starting to have a significant Hispanic population as Puerto Ricans are leaving the island due to increased problems with hurricanes and natural disasters like Hurricane Maria. Some of these people were economically fluent and they were able to obtain properties in areas like Marion Oaks and Jacksonville, bringing real estate competition and price increases to a part of the state that for a very long time was stagnant. The Venezuelan community has also grown in Florida, and these being much more affluent since Venezuela was, after all, the richest country in South and Central and Latin America, where oil and trade made the people rich until a government came along and brought that all to an end. And it is believed that other European countries may be soon to follow if they face hardships. The fact that Hispanic communities were able to set up in places like Orlando, Tampa, and Miami has given outside buyers the perspective that Florida is a much more welcoming place than other parts of the country. And this has contributed to outside buyers coming into the state, and once again, the regional Floridian who was displaced from South Florida is now again being displaced from Central and North Florida. Now, I've talked to people who said in the 70s and 80s they were forced out of their homes by other people. Now, what I'm seeing happening now, and I can't speak about what happened back then because I wasn't around, but what I'm seeing now happening in Central and North Florida is that people from other countries are buying up affordable real estate with money they made in poor countries. And the regional people are complacent about seeing people they don't like in their communities, and they're moving to further out places. However, I don't see them doing anything inappropriate. I just see people who have money buying real estate in places they can afford it. Seems like you're dealing with a group of people who want everything handed to them, real estate to be affordable, and are not even able to compete with people from poorer countries when it comes to real estate. On the other hand, there's plenty of rich people who live in Miami and live in Naples and have very expensive real estate. Once again, the lovely Gator Nuggets. So once again, the residents of North Florida are not happy that their region is changing. However, there's a simple way to prevent the region from changing, and that is not to sell the real estate you own or to buy the real estate that enters the market. That doesn't really give you a reason to complain or hate other people. For example, I bought a piece of land in South Florida that was surrounded by nothing but wooded lots. In the last few months, they've cleared most of those lots, and now I have neighbors. Does that mean I have to hate the people that build new houses there because it was all green, beautiful land before they built their house? No. If I don't like it, I can sell it. I can buy land somewhere else. So this influx of outside buyers is really starting to be a thing for the regional people of North Florida who don't want their area to change. But then again, all you have to do is hold on to your property, or buy other properties when they enter the market, and if it's yours, you can do whatever the crap you want with it. But if it's on the market, whoever has the most money is going to buy it. And look, when I moved to Naples, Florida, it was a small little town. Today, Naples is nothing like what it was when I first moved there. But guess what? Those people have the right to be there because they paid for those properties. They didn't steal them, they didn't take them, they paid for it. People are starting to move to the south from all over the country, and a lot of areas are really starting to fight back. This isn't a problem unique to Florida. In fact, I was just in an Alabama Facebook group today, and there's people complaining about outsiders moving into their state and ruining their state. I was just on a Georgia group that I'm on Facebook, and as well, there's people in the Georgia groups that are upset that people are moving from other states. Let me not even get started on Tennessee. The people in Tennessee are also furious that there's people moving to their state and changing the way things are. It seems like a lot of city people just can't afford to live in their cities anymore, so they're moving to more rural places. What they find is that in the long run, you don't feel welcomed in these places, and you may find yourself missing some of the amenities you may have had living in a bigger city. In my case, I moved back to a very expensive, unaffordable place where I have less economical opportunity simply because I felt that the area that I was in rural Alabama was unwelcoming. And you get what you pay for. If an area is more affordable, there's an underlying reason why it's cheaper, and you're going to get what you pay for. A lot of people are choosing North Florida because it's more affordable, and there are reasons why it's worth less. The reason South Florida is more desirable from a real estate perspective is because it is that much better. So to answer the question of which is better, North Florida or South Florida, by far, South Florida is better. I took a vote on our channel, and I let you guys, my subscribers, decide. I really expected, based on my preconceived notion of who my subscribers are, that most of you guys were going to go for North Florida. However, I was actually surprised to see you guys voted, honestly, and said that South Florida is better. And the truth is that most people want to be in South Florida because they know it's better. You have better beaches, you have better access to amenities, you have better weather. Unfortunately, not everybody can afford the price tag that comes with South Florida. But if money wasn't a matter, the vast majority of people relocating to the state, or even those who already live within the state, are going to admit that South Florida is better. And when it comes to infrastructure and job opportunities, the entire state of Florida really sucks. It's really a place for people to retire, and if you're living here and you're still working and making a living, you're at a huge disadvantage compared to states like Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, or even Alabama. But regardless, people of less economical means are sacrificing themselves tremendously to be in South Florida because they feel it's safer and they feel more comfortable here. In my case, my decision to move to Alabama and to abandon living in Florida, I found out that safety is of prime concern to me in the future. Didn't seem like it mattered to me because I was used to living in a safe place. My long-term subscribers are going to remember that when I lived in Alabama, I stopped doing live streams in public places because people would go there, follow me, wait till I finish the live stream. I've never had those concerns here. I always quote this song that I hear on the radio from an artist called Lil Durk, and he has a lyric that says, "In the summertime in Miami, I got the top down. Can't do that in Chicago, cause shots gonna be flying around." It's not just the lifestyle, it's also the safety that you get down here. And I'm a person who travels all over the United States. I'm not a complete imbecile. There's people that live in North Florida and they'll say stuff like, "Miami's dangerous. I got robbed there in 1972. Bro, I wasn't even alive in 1972. But in 2022, I've traveled through the vast majority of the southern region of this country, and I can tell you that in South Florida, it is a very relatively safe place. And in fact, a lot of affluent people from Atlanta, Louisiana, and the Carolinas are grabbing their money and they're coming down here, even though that their communities aren't established here, but they're coming here because they feel that it's safer. And I'm going to see in the future a huge influx of African Americans from the Deep South coming into South Florida because they feel that it's safer here. Even the Northeast and the Midwest, I'm starting to see this trend, and my message to you is welcome to Florida. And the people that are going to tell you and make you feel like you're unwanted or uncomfortable here, they did it to me, and they did it to people from other states, and they've done it to everybody who's moved down here from somewhere else. And eventually they're the ones who are going to have to get up and leave because Florida's ever becoming a diverse place. And what awaits them in rural Alabama and rural Georgia, they're going to be wishing that they were back here in Florida with us in a matter of a few years. And after moving back to Florida, the sentiment that I used to have about New Yorkers and New Jerseys and people coming here from other places has really changed. I understand now why they want to be here, and I understand that they're not robbing people, they're not stealing, they got their own money, they're just trying to enjoy life and stay in their own lane. And the people trying to scare you out or make you feel uncomfortable, they're just not go-getters. They're not hustlers. They can't make the type of money you make, so they feel at a disadvantage by your presence alone. Florida is not an easy place to make it. It is economically challenging. So if you move here, you better be a hustler and a go-getter because it's already competitive. This notion that North Florida used to be affordable and it was slower pace is ever changing. North Florida is becoming South Florida. The affordability is certainly gone. Crap, I was recently in South Alabama along Baldwin County, and I noticed that new homes in Alabama were costing the same as a new home in South Florida. The hurricane building codes was one of the reasons why South Florida had always historically had higher real estate prices, because the building codes here were stricter. Nowadays, it seems like places like Alabama, where they don't have a building code, are trying to charge Florida prices, despite the fact that what final product, the home that they're giving you, isn't going to withstand a tornado, isn't going to withstand a hurricane like a house built down here. It's just, you still get more bang for your buck when you consider what you're actually buying, a concrete block structure in a setting that is warm throughout the whole year, where you're never going to have to deal with snow, where you got tropical vibes, and when you get more sunlight per day than anywhere else in the country that isn't a freaking desert. I think in the future, I'm going to drop a video for you guys on exactly what makes land and homes be worth so much money, why one place is more expensive, why one place is overpriced. We're going to break all that down in the future in a video that I want to make for you guys. And I think a lot of people don't understand that the things they're buying now in the deep south in places like Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama is not really bang for their buck. It was 4 years ago. It's not right now. If you want affordability, you got places like Lehigh, Palm Coast, Vero Beach, places like that. They're just a little bit more affordable, but they're still in a good region of the state. And there's no real pretty way of putting this, but if you're more inclined to North Florida being better for you, you have to understand that it's really a place that's part of the deep south still. And even if you pay millions of dollars for your property, some hick from Alabama is going to drive across your driveway with a squatted truck every single day. Florida Panhandle prices may be starting to get up and the development's coming in, but this is still the redneck Riviera, and the people that live in the deep south, this is where they go to vacation, and to them, you're nothing more than a beach town where they get drunk and party. The same thing that happens in Daytona Beach happens in the Florida Panhandle. Hey, let me hear your thoughts and opinions on this controversial video. To me personally, what makes South Florida better is the access to amenities like restaurants and shopping, where I have a lot more options when I'm ready to spend some money and do things. Also in South Florida, I feel that I have a larger array of different types of beaches that I can access, where in North Florida, it's more spread out. For example, some beaches in Jacksonville are nice, but they don't have any clear water. You have to go way further south or all the way to the Panhandle to get some clear water beaches, where here in South Florida, I can hop on over to Miami, Broward County, or anywhere in Southwest Florida. Really, the amount of beaches that are down here and accessible is really what makes it, for me, the best part of Florida. And I love the notion of going to the East Coast to enjoy their beaches. You know, a lot of people that live in Southwest Florida will never go to a beach in Southeast Florida or vice versa, but I've come to love beaches on both coasts. I also feel like people in South Florida are much better educated. They have just a little bit more class. They're more refined. They're more about talking about real estate and culture than they are talking about, look at that squatted truck right there. It's just a more refined and educated person that lives in the southern region of the state, and I tend to enjoy being around people like that more as neighbors than I will somebody who's slamming the gas pedal to the floor at 3 in the morning because they just installed a cherry bomb on their Chevy Silverado. Or like when I lived in Alabama, where my neighbor would turn on his air compressor at 3 in the morning because whatever activity he was doing couldn't be done in the daytime where people could see it, even though I can feel it shake the whole house. The variety of restaurants that we get down here is important to me because I like dining out a lot. I'm more of a city person, and it seems like even smaller places like Northport and Port Charlotte that aren't really big cities will still have specialty restaurants and little places you can go. I will say that in Citrus County you have a little bit of that going on where you have a little bit of variety and a little bit of specialty restaurants, but when you get into the northern part of the state, it's either fast food or fast food, and I'm just not really into that unless you get into a big city like Jacksonville that does have a whole lot more going on in the realm of things to do for dining. Most places like Tallahassee to me are uneventful, and if you're looking for something special for dinner, there's not too many options. The reason that the area is just north of Tampa, we're talking from Pasco, Hernando, and even Citrus County is my favorite part of northern Florida, is because you still have some of those amenities, restaurants that you'll find in the southern region of the state. You have a lot of regional restaurants too that focus on all that Florida barbecue and seafood, all the way up to Cedar Key even. But when you get beyond that into the northern part of the state, man, there really isn't too much that you can say this is a specific thing culturally to here. And even the best barbecue places, they'll stop at about Fanning Springs. When you get to the Florida Panhandle, I've yet to find like an incredible barbecue place up there. It seems like it's an area that doesn't have the life of South Florida, even though it's got the beaches. Like there's something missing to it, referring to the Florida Panhandle when you talk about culturally. Vice versa, if you look at a place like Jacksonville, you'll find a little bit of both. So I also like that particular region of North Florida, anywhere between Orlando, Jacksonville, and Citrus County, let's say, because it is North Florida, but you still have a lot of the things you would expect as far as culture and life. And I know people like to crack on places like, let's say, the Villages, but even the Villages has much more going on in that realm than places way to the north part of Florida. Like literally, if you're in the Lakeland area, we're probably going to eat like at an Olive Garden or something, because there's just nothing uniquely like regional to that area that you can say, let's try this. But then when you get to Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade County, there's so much culture, there's so much shopping, there's so much life to these places that I can see why they're feeling that they're really superior than anywhere else. But if you check out Southwest Florida, we have a little bit of it, enough to be called South Florida. Hey guys, checking out. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe.